Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here this morning. It's a wonderful day to be alive, just like every day is a wonderful day to be alive. I'm thrilled to be able to share with you that which is given to me. I'm thrilled to have the courage to simply say, I am. So let's begin today with our breathing exercise that allows us to simply get present in our body. A friend told me yesterday, he says, well, you started your session yesterday with a breathing exercise, and my allergies had me so stopped up I couldn't breathe, so I went on to something else. So if your allergies have you stopped up and you can't breathe, I suggest that you just breathe through your mouth, in and out, but don't go away. So let's begin. In through the nose, hold, out through the mouth. In through the nose, hold, out through the mouth. Continue. In through the nose, hold, out through the mouth. Open your eyes if they're closed. Clear your throat if it's froggy. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Good morning, Mary Lee. It's nice to see you or be with you. My friends, today I want to talk about the fact that we are all one. We're all one. There's creation and we're it. There's creator and that is within its creation. And so I am part of the creation and I am the creator. Now, that is not what has been trained into us for generations. 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 And I'm not quite sure exactly how it works. And I know it's not really necessary for me to understand exactly how it works. But those of us who are dog people or like dogs or know people who have dogs or have ever been around dogs or a dog, which pretty much I think covers most people, know that certain types of dogs have certain traits and certain tendencies, which are, supported through their breeding practices. Like, for instance, pointers, which is a breed of dog, point. So they go out and they are trained that when they see what it is they're trained to see, they point at it. And other dogs are retrievers. So they have a like a genetic predisposition to retrieve things. So whatever it is they're trained, those dogs, to retrieve, they retrieve it. And so this activity that goes with that particular or this particular type of dog is carried through from one generation to the next generation to the next generation. And when training dogs who are, let's say, retrievers, you have one, the older one, who has been conditioned to specifically retrieve certain type of thing, let's say a tennis ball, and you put the young pup with that pre-trained older dog, and you just play with the older dog. You throw the tennis ball, and the older dog runs and gets it. And the younger dog runs alongside of it and sees what's happening and gets it. Oh, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. And before long, the younger dog is challenging the older dog to get the ball first. And so the process goes. Well, who we are as human beings is not a whole lot different. And in each case, relative to our surroundings and relative to that particular aspect of Mother Earth, of Gaia, that we are born to, shapes the nature of our existence. If we are born in the steppes of Mongolia and live the traditional life, then we are born into herding wildlife and roaming nomadically. And so we are born with our parents, and our mother does what our mother does, our father does what our fathers do, our brothers and sisters participate with those parents on the Mongolian steppes. And before long, we begin to pick up those traits. We learn how to keep ourselves warm. We learn how to keep ourselves fed. We learn how to do all these things. We learn what the belief practice is, and we go about living that life, and all is well. And that works perfectly well until we get to the point, in regardless which place we're born or which particular societal impact has shaped us, one of us, one at a time, one of us pops up and goes, oh, wait a minute. There's more, something different that I'm interested in. And I don't know what it is. And I feel badly because I'm shaped to know that this is what I'm supposed to do. But it isn't what I am compelled to do. It isn't what I'm compelled to do. Now, back to our dog metaphor, or back to our dog example, there are certain dogs that are born into the retriever group who simply are not retrievers. And no one can ever figure out why. But they're not. And they're culled from the herd, and they're definitely not bred for retrieving. And different things happen. Good morning, Shireen. And so, what I'm talking about here, or trying to get to in my roundabout way, is that most of us who might be listening to this particular message are not those that follow the standard operating procedure for whatever group it is that we were born into. We, for whatever reason, those who may be listening to this, look and say, that standard way of living, that standard way of being doesn't work for me. I don't feel it. I don't want to be here. And that allows us then to find ourselves in a position of a number of opportunities. And one of those opportunities is, well, I guess I just don't fit into this particular group. But it doesn't show up for us, at least it didn't show up for me immediately, that I don't fit into this particular group. It showed up for me that I just don't fit, period. I don't belong here. And so I come around the horn to get to the place where I want to say that the training that is positioned for we spiritual beings, being human, once we come to a place of any glimpse of that nature of spirit, which we are in fact, fitting into the regular day-to-day mundane activity, doesn't work. We're called all kinds of things. We're called black sheep. We're called rebels. We're called dropouts. We have all kinds of titles that are given to us because we don't fit into that already always regular activity that our quote unquote peers, people like us, fit into. It's not right or wrong or good or bad. It's just what it is. And those of us who are a little more learned in spiritual consciousness realize that the fundamental truths that we were taught as children in the United States of America, generally speaking, are not so. And one of those teachings is that we have one opportunity to get it right, and if we don't, then we're going to experience horrible hell for eternity. And we go, no, that ain't it. But it usually takes us coming from a place of, this is the description of a person who is going to not make it to the desirable place, but is destined to make it to the undesirable place. And we realize that somewhere early in our experience, somewhere in our early teens usually, or most people I know, And then we go, well, I'm not going to make it to that desirable place to begin with, so I might as well just go for broke. I might as well just do whatever it is I want to do. And what I'm trying to get to this morning, and I don't even know how this got started this way, but what I'm trying to get to is that the perspective that we were trained from the moment we were conceived is not so. We are not separate just because we don't want to retrieve the ball. It doesn't mean that we are separated from all of those who do want to retrieve the ball, because we are all one. Excuse me. There's only one. There's only one thing. And we are all it. There's no separation. Nowhere. And when we look closely at the whole experience that's available to us to see, and we study it, and we contemplate it, and we look at it, and we look at it, and we look at other people who look at it, who use really special tools like microscopes and stuff like that. And we look at it, and we look at it, and we realize that everything, or excuse me, most everything that we've been trained about the condition of where we are is not so. There's something going on that if we knew what it is, it would change the whole perspective of our existence. And all of it has to do with something about the perspective of God. Everybody that I know, everybody that I hear about, wants this world to be a place of peace and harmony, where all is well. Now, I know there's a whole group of people out there who really like, gangster life and all that kind of stuff. But they're not the people I come in contact with regularly. The people I come in contact with want everything to flow smoothly, to be able to relax, to be able to breathe, and have a good time. And so, Mystic Paul says, Paul the Mystic says, and agrees with others who say, there is only one God, thing, creation, creator, created. It is all one. And we are it. And this is the foundation of realizing something beyond how it is we are conditioned to show up in this three-dimensional world. And simply considering that one possibility could be a whole life contemplation process for an individual. The reality is, if I'm not happy, if I am not experiencing joy wherever I am, then I have only one duty in front of me, and that is change the reality. Suffering is not required. Penance is not necessary. Spending a life retrieving a ball, hating it, is not what it's all about. Neale Donald Walsch, author of Conversations with God, puts it this way: we are all one. All things are one thing. There is only one thing. And all things are part of the one thing there is. This means that I am and you are divine. You are not your body. You are not your mind. You are not your soul. You are the unique combination of all three, which comprises the totality of you. You are an individuation of divinity and expression of God on earth. Embracing and contemplating that singular statement is the stepping off place. And I invite you all to walk into it and become that which you are. I acknowledge you as the presence of God wherever you are. You are free, and I am free. Be well. See you next Monday. I love you. Please support and thank you for your support of this message with your dollars. Your love is money at paypal.me/M Mystic Paul. Thank you. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.